seen the housing market in Manitoba lately, as I alluded to, then you might have noticed some changes in the prices. So if you're selling, you're probably loving this. If you're buying, maybe not so much. In Winnipeg and all across our province, in fact, houses are becoming more expensive. So in July, we saw some of the highest monthly average prices on record. That's according to the Winnipeg Real Estate Board. The average price, in case you're curious, of a residential detached home was over $443,000. Michael Froese is president of the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board and in studio live with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So how does this number compare? Just like 443, if that's the average price was over that, is that a lot more than previous years, or what's your sense of that number?
Yeah, it's up almost over 10%.
Okay.
Not quite, but we're hovering at double digits there. And it's even gone up since then. So right now, currently, I looked at this morning before I got up here today, and it was just over $450,000. So it has risen a little bit again. And these are record prices for Winnipeg.
And what's contributing to that? Is it because there do seem to be builds out there, but are they at a even higher price? Like, is that level of the market sort of where maybe a family would try to be getting into a house is not enough stock?
Yeah, certainly not enough stock. We've had a supply issue for a number of years, since the pandemic, and we still have this pandemic hangover with supply. But the difference is with us and some of the major other markets in Canada this year is they had demand fall off. Like Toronto, Vancouver had sales plummeted this year. Now they're oversupplied and they're starting to rebound, where we've had the complete opposite effect. Our demand has remained strong. Even at the end of 2024 into 2025, we've had strong demand throughout the year. Every month has pretty much outpaced last year. So it's this demand that is outweighing the supply that's really pushing these prices upwards. What that does is it just creates a seller's market. In many local neighborhoods, we're under a month of inventory, which means there's not enough housing supply. 1 month of inventory is very low. A balanced market, buyer's market, seller's market, balanced market is usually between 3 to 5 months of inventory. And we're sitting in some neighborhoods under 1 month, which means there's just weeks of inventory. And so that just creates a hyper-competitive market, which I know a lot of buyers, especially the first-timers looking to get in, are experiencing and have experienced this year. And that does put an upward pressure on prices.
Where are the hottest neighborhoods where you're finding that 1 month?
If you're in, neighborhoods that are close to that average sale price, so like Windsor Park, East Kildonan, Westwood, those are, Crestview, those are definitely really, really busy markets right now. And there's just far too few homes on the market in those neighborhoods.
Who's shopping? Who are the buyers in Winnipeg? Is there everybody, but who are the buyers that might be struggling to find an affordable home right now?
Well, those buyers in that entry level, that's certainly under $500,000 is the toughest market that we have right now. You do have, as you kind of go up in the price point, there's still definitely, we still see some luxury homes selling over list price with hundreds of thousands and multiple offers, even in the luxury market right now. But generally speaking, there are some pockets that are you have a little bit more room to breathe. Some areas like Sage Creek and Bridgewater, as an example, those ones have a lot of new inventory, a bit of a higher price point. So there's a bit more room to move around. It's kind of like going from a hot tub into a swimming pool. You have a bit more room. But those neighborhoods for sure as I mentioned, that are hovering around that average sale price are the busiest and the most competitive.
Why haven't we fallen off here? You were talking about other cities where there was a change and it didn't happen here.
Yeah. So Manitoba and Winnipeg, what we have is a unique economy here. So there's a number of things that are going for us which really help boom demand. The first one is, first of all, our affordability, right? Even though these are record prices, we are about half of the national average for homes. So affordability is certainly driving it. We have an economy that has grown. We've kind of withstood and been resilient through this whole tariff and uncertainty of 2025. And our unemployment rate is actually below the national average as well. So you have, and population is also increasing. So you have more people in Manitoba. Our population is growing. Low unemployment. So you have people with jobs. That is going to be with stable interest rates. That's a perfect setting for housing.
Yeah, we're just different. We've always been different, quite frankly.
We've just bucked those trends, right? Yeah. We just don't have those massive volatile swings that some of those other major markets do.
If sellers are out there, what do you say to them right now about this, given the market?
Yeah, first of all, don't read the national headlines, right? Those ones don't apply to us. So A seller right now is typically speaking in a good position. It is a seller's market, but every market is local, and even beyond that, it's hyper local. There's submarkets within submarkets. There's different streets. On one side of the street is different than the other side of the street, or across the tracks. So making sure you get local knowledge, making sure you get a local realtor who knows the ins and outs of that neighborhood, and with a proper pricing strategy, a seller is set up well.
July's average prices for residential detached homes and condos also continued the trend of the highest monthly average prices on record, which, condos also is a totally different part of the picture. But I should just ask you, how different is it? Or is what you're talking about is on the houses the same for condos in Winnipeg?
Yeah, condos is kind of a spillover effect almost, because with Winnipeg is over 75% of our sales are residential detached. We are a single family home community, right? That's just kind of where we are, as opposed to, again, Toronto, which is condo.
Yep.
So what that means is as the single family market was uber competitive, a lot of people look for alternative housing options, right? It's better to be a have than a have not almost. And so, okay, if I'm not going to get a residential home, I can go into a condo. And condos, even though we did see multiple offers in condos this year, it's fewer and far between. The intensity is died down for condos. So people can go into a condo, have a much more less manic of a purchasing process. They have a cooling off period. You can kind of approach it a little bit differently. And we just don't have, again, the same sort of supply issues. Condos, we have new development. We have new condos coming to market. But it is... It's another good choice for people right now if they want to go single family.
I want to ask about first-time home buyers in more detail in a second, but I want to ask you where infill fits into this.
Yeah. Because
obviously we've had zoning changes now in the city of Winnipeg because they were going for these federal dollars, and so they had to change some things about how quickly things could be built. So we're now seeing more infill.
Yeah.
We're told by the city that we need more, we need more density and such from their point of view. So where does infill fit into this? Does it take away some of those where two, median market single family homes would be, and then in some cases, put up that multi-dwelling? And how does that affect the market trends?
Yeah, infill is a good news story here, because what it does is it offers, again, more alternative housing types for buyers, especially first timers, because a lot of the infills now, they are looking at going with a duplex or granny suites, which is kind of a new thing for the city to start allowing more of those and easier to build them. When that just helps a first time buyer's purchasing power if they can offset their debt servicing ratio with income from a rental suite. So it's a good news story, and more infill is needed. I apologize if this is a crass analogy,
Okay.
but somebody equated it to somebody has to come and scrape the roadkill off the road, and so there are underdeveloped housing. There are underdeveloped neighborhoods that need an influx of cash, an influx of capital to improve them, and that's where infill housing really helps, and it is sort of revitalizing those neighborhoods. It's a good thing.
Let me ask you about the first-time home buyers then. What should they be thinking about if they're in Winnipeg, and especially if they've been struggling to find a place?
Yeah, certainly there are challenges out there for first-time buyers and for buyers in general, but there are some good news stories here. One, again, as we just talked about, some new alternative housing types. There are builders are even building more single-attached townhomes, and they're reacting to the need for more affordable housing. So there are more options right now for buyers that way. The other thing is, though, it's super paramount. You have to get a great team around you as a first-time buyer, and any buyer. You have to get a great realtor who knows the neighborhoods that you're looking in, these submarkets I talked about. You need to get a great financial advisor and mortgage advisor as well, so they can get a financial plan. And then you have to set a plan. And from there, you can go in and attack the market. And that's the attitude I sort of recommend is a patient aggressiveness, where you want to be patient, you want to have the right house. I don't think anybody should just buy a house because they need to and they buy a dud. Like, that's not what we're after here. We want to get people in the right homes and right neighborhoods for them. But you have to be aggressive as well. So be patient for the right one, and then when you see the right one, you have to go into the market and you have to be aggressive with it in this market. You can't just haphazardly wander in and expect success.
Thank you very much for being with us this morning and walking through the trends and how our community is bucking the trend across the country. Thank you.
Thank you again for having me.
That is Michael Froese with us live on CBC in studio, the president of the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board.